Message to a potential foreign investor. You know, it might be kind of ironic that speaking on behalf of Business Ombudsman Council, which is the body not vested with any binding authority and which is aimed at resolving disputes between business and government based on its reputational leverage, therefore is dealing with various aspects of negativism. I'm here in front of you speaking about actually coming to Ukraine. And I just have a few things to share, information that you might have not been necessarily aware about, particularly if you see me from far away. And maybe this is going to be one of the factors that you ultimately would take into account while making your investment decision. First of all, the mere fact of our existence evidences that the institutional landscape in Ukraine, as far as it concerns to the relations between the business and government, is actually dynamic. It's evolving. And our creation proves that fact. Indeed, how traditional mechanisms for dispute resolution in Ukraine were properly functioning and the rule of law observed, perhaps back in 2014, the memorandum of the Ukrainian Anti-Corruption Initiative would not have been signed. But that happened, and a new and unique body has been created. We are unique, first of all, because of our founding fathers. It's not only government, it's also EBRD, OECD, and 5 large business associations. Therefore, that creates a certain sense of inclusiveness, where everyone who directly or impliedly is involved in what's called quality of business environment in Ukraine has actually joined forces, and they are present in our supervisory board. I'm, as Deputy Business Ombudsman, representing operational management, and for the avoidance of doubt, supervisory board is not intruding anyhow in our everyday activity. And this is the factor that, together with the financing that we are receiving from 13 donors, 12 countries plus the European Union, created that effect of us being equally distanced from business and government. We are not governmental authority, yet we are not legal counsel for our complainants. And that resulted in those achievements that I can very briefly share with you. So far, more than 3,600 complaints has been lodged with the Business Ombudsman Council, out of which 2/3 has been accepted into our consideration and became actual cases. We have, as a result of the efforts that we have made, the direct financial impact of our activity now exceeds 11.5 billion Ukrainian hryvnias. We have issued more than 800 recommendations while investigating those individual cases, and more than 90% of our individual recommendations has actually been implemented in practice. This is an incredible achievement. And perhaps that the reason for that is if you are structuring reputational leverage in the post-Soviet Slavic country, that actually brings a necessary positive result. It's actually amazing how the institution that has been set up more than 3 years ago as a sort of an institutional experiment actually proved to be so successful. And we are looking forward to finalizing or completing our institutional build-up as the adoption of the law on the Business Ombudsman institution is imminent. It has already been adopted in the first reading in the Ukrainian Parliament 2 years ago, and we very much look forward to having it seen adopted later on this year. And perhaps a few figures that you might want to, that I would like to share with you as far as the typology of complaints or the overall profile of the foreign investor that is filing a complaint with us. I know the statistics for 2016-2017. During that period of time, some 19% of our complainants were foreign investors, presumably existing. We have closed during that period of time some 384 cases that we investigated. And that produced the positive impact or a positive result in some 72% of the complaints filed by foreign investors that we have accepted in our consideration. Overall, if you are looking at the taxonomy or typology of problematic situations that we are dealing with, foreign investors are not that much different from domestic business that still constitutes the majority of our complainants. With the exception of two things, perhaps. First, while some 62% of the complaints that we have received so far are related to various fiscal matters, as far as foreign investors are concerned, the percentage is actually significantly lower, some 43%. Having said that, as far as the number of complaints filed to challenge the actions of law enforcers or subnational governors, the percentage attributable to the foreign investors is the same as to anyone else who is filing complaint with us, 15, 12% respectively. And the second element that differs foreigners, so to say, from locals or domestic business for that matter, is that when you are looking at the overall profile of our complainant, 75% approximately is small and medium-sized business, which is sort of logical from the perspective that our involvement is actually free of charge for our complainants. And only 25%, if you were to look at the aggregate picture, is the figure taken by large businesses. As far as foreign investors are concerned, the figures are exactly the other way around. 75% of our complainants is large business and 25% small and medium-sized. And I guess this is pretty much logical from that perspective that, well, only those that are strong, that are bigger, are typically seeking expansion into a foreign country. So, just to complete, as our main mandate is to investigate individual complaints filed by businesses, and as you see, we are quite successful in that. We are also paying attention to systemic problems that negatively characterize the quality of business environment here. And while doing so, we write systemic reports. So far, 11 reports has been written to tackle pretty much all of the main issues that are worth being discussed on a systemic level. In my particular case, 5 topics has been addressed, and the criteria that we have employed while selecting the topics don't necessarily depend upon the number of complaints that is filed. It's actually based on our own discretion while trying to ascertain what is really systemic, which problem has a real systemic nature. In my particular case, the areas that has been addressed and where the recommendation has been issued is getting hooked up to electricity, administering taxes, abuses at the part of the law enforcers, the quality of the competition control and oversight in Ukraine, and the problem of raidership. So here we are, trying to tackle the potential problem both on the individual and systemic level, have proved to be successful. However, when it comes to your potential expansion plans, I wish you would memorize only one reason, that we exist should you have any problem. But of course, our primary wish is that you would never actually have to use us and face the need to lodge a complaint with us in your practical life. Thank you.